Hi, I guess I just wanted to expand upon all the shit that was said in the last video. I'm actually gonna leave some helpful links down below to a bunch of studies that I love to cite about to trans cult. But also, I'm just gonna talk about how I've actually, believe it or not, been misgendered before. Okay, I was bald for 2 years, and it was awesome. I can't wait to be bald again. But so I was bald for 2 years, and I had a job, but I would always like cover my head because I had a job in the summer and I was working outdoors, so I always had to cover my head, and I would always wear pants too, and I would also like be walking one way and someone would want to get my attention and they would be behind me and I didn't have any hair and it looked like I was just wearing a head covering. So, guess what? I got misgendered. Oh no, I got misgendered. And guess what I fucking did? I just dealt with it and I didn't fucking care because obviously those people probably had bad vision or they just thought I was a man because they didn't see long hair on me, which is, sexist. So that happened twice at work, but I didn't fucking care. And then that happened to me another time when I was in Utah, okay, which isn't surprising because how should I put this lightly? Utah's, I don't know, pretty sexist. Anyway, I was in Utah. I was also wearing like a maxi skirt and like a girly denim jacket, but I was bald. And this woman, again, was behind me and she called me sir. And then she felt really bad. I didn't fucking care, dude. I don't care. But she called me sir and she felt, it was in a restaurant. She felt really bad. She's like, oh, I mean, ma'am. And I was like, I don't care. Like, I know maybe you think of all bald people are male, but like, surprise. Here's another way I put it for people who I'm explaining my radical feminism to. So if someone else gives a stranger to you your resume, okay, your work history, but they block off your name completely, so they don't know if you're male or female. And this stranger reads your resume, and then they're asked questions about it, like, what did you think of that person's resume? So say someone did that to me, and they read my resume and were like, oh, it seems like he has a lot of experience in this, and I think it's cool that he did this, and he also did this. Like, would that upset you? If someone did that to you? It wouldn't upset me. I mean, I wouldn't care if whoever the fuck read my resume without my actual name on it thought I was a man. Or, if someone, like, saw my knitting, because I'm a pro knitter, my friends. She's a pro knitter. Oh, I love this scarf. I'm so glad I get to take it down. Anyway, she's a pro knitter. So if someone saw my knitting and they were like, and I wasn't there, say it was in, like, an art exhibit, right? And they were like, wow, I really like his use of colors. Would that offend me? I mean, I actually hope that you would think I was a woman for my art, but if you didn't, I wouldn't care. It wouldn't upset me. Because I don't fucking get my goddamn panties in a bunch about that shit, and if you do, you probably have a serious problem. No, really, I'm serious. Like, you have a really serious problem if that's such an issue for you, okay? That's a mental health problem. That's a crisis, okay? I used to work in this place that required you to show your ID upon entering. It had to be a governmentally issued legal license, legal form of identification. Birth certificate, a driver's license, a passport. You had to do it to enter. Okay, so I actually wasn't even here when this happened, but my coworker, the ID someone gave her, it said female on it, but this person was actually living as a male, so she misgendered this trans man, and the trans man threw an absolute fucking tantrum about it. And this is a grown human being. and he was like threatening to call the police, like threatening to call these people, like had a goddamn freak out in the fucking store. Like, I wish I had been there because it would have been really interesting, but I wasn't there. I just heard about it. And, God, this really upsets me. So then my boss was going around to everyone being like, you know, you really have to be careful about someone's gender identity. We have a lot of trans folks coming in and you have to really be careful. And I was like, all I could do was be like, okay, what the fuck? And I brought it up with that gal later, and she was like, yeah, I didn't know I was supposed to honor someone's imaginary fucking pronoun that I had no possible way of telling from their governmentally issued license. So fucking stupid. But, like, that is a mental issue. That is a clear mental issue, okay? Maybe I shouldn't have laughed, but it's too late. You can't be like most people. Think about most people, everyone. Are most people really that upset by that? Did I react that way with the grand total of 3 times I've been misgendered in my life? No. Because it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal to get misgendered. It should not be a big deal. But, like, I can tell that there's, like, really serious mental issues going on there for them. And, like, I talked to this gal, this young woman, one time on a social media platform, and she messaged me, and she was like, I just want to talk to you about your beliefs. And I was like, okay, well, I've done this quite a few times, so I am interested. I would love to talk to you, but if you just want to, like, yell at me, I don't want to talk. So do you want to yell at me or do you want to talk? And she was like, oh no, I want to talk. And I was like, okay. So I said to her that, like, there's no such thing as a masculine brain or a feminine brain. Like, and there's nothing wrong with being a feminine man or a masculine woman. And she was like, yeah, that's true. And I was like, so you're with me? And she's like, yeah, I'm totally with you. And she, like, sent me a bunch of hearts. And I was like, it's not possible to become the opposite sex. That's not possible. Like, we ain't frogs, okay? This is not Jurassic Park, okay? But she just, like, kept saying, I'm a man. And I was like, no, you're actually a woman. And she just kept saying, no, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. And, like, I could tell there was, like, truly a mental block there. There truly is a mental block there for them. And, like, it's not funny, but I laughed earlier. Sorry. Maybe it is sometimes, but, like, chill out, okay? You guys need to chill the fuck out. Like, dear God, this is not normal. That is not normal behavior to freak the fuck out like that. When someone misgenders you, people don't react that way, generally, okay? And I'm sure that, like, you know, I'm sure a ton of people are used to being misgendered, and it ain't no thing. They don't throw a goddamn tantrum about it, okay? It's not an acceptable way to act, I will add. You know, grown human beings don't throw tantrums. That just is not a thing. Okay? So I want to talk about these studies done. I'm leaving a link below. This study was done. I'll give you the synopsis because it's pretty long to read. This is the biggest study that has ever been done in the history of the world with trans people, okay? And because it's also the longest one. It started, I think, in 1973 and went all the way until the year 2000. So it's like 30 years, maybe even to 2003. I don't remember the exact dates, but it's about 30 years. It's about a 30-year-long study, and it was done in Sweden. They had 300 trans people or people who identified as or presented as the opposite sex. Guess what they found? They found that people who had surgeries, who had plastic surgeries, were to appear more as their desired sex, were more likely to kill themselves than people who did not have surgeries to appear more as their desired sex. What does that tell you? That tells you that surgeries don't help these people. It doesn't help you to cut your breasts off. It doesn't help you to rip your arm skin off and sew it to your vagina and make it look like a penis. It doesn't help you to invert your cock. Okay? And you know what? The fact that we're just like honoring any and every mental illness request is fucked up. Like, there's that woman who identified as blind, and then she actually made her therapist for real, like, make her blind, and then he did. I hope that guy got charged, by the way, because that's fucked up. But I don't know if it was a guy. Probably a guy. Her therapist put drain cleaner in her eyes because she identified as blind. And now she's actually blind. And her family doesn't talk to her, I will add. There's also body integrity identity disorder. It's when you really, really, really want to be an amputee. Like, you don't believe that your arm or your hand or your leg belongs to you and that you are really meant to be an amputee. And I saw a video of a guy, maybe I can find it, of a guy who wanted to not have his leg. He was like really seriously considering getting his leg amputated. He was like, oh, if I could just find a doctor who would amputate it for me. And then I don't remember if it was his boyfriend or his friend was like, yeah, I think that would be a really good option for him to have his leg removed. No, it wouldn't. Like, you kind of need your leg. You kind of need to use your goddamn fucking leg. Like, hello. You kind of need to have an intact, like, urinary tract system. You kind of shouldn't be cutting your dick off. Like, I don't know how we got to the point where people were like, oh yeah, dick amputation. I mean, that's questionable. But, like, plenty of radical feminists would be like, yeah, dick amputations. But, like, generally not for dick amputations. If you're gonna pretend to be a woman after it, doesn't make you a woman. I'm not for arm skin removal to sew that onto your fucking vagina to make it appear as a dick. That's dumb. People just need to fucking think harder about this shit, okay? It's really serious. And, like, I'm so sick of it all. And people need to realize that, like, you're not being compassionate towards these people when you're abusing them. Let's talk about Brandon Teena. Brandon! My mistake. Sorry, Teena. Okay, so I'm leaving a link below for this study. It's not a study, it's like I guess it's a study. This piece this woman wrote about Teena Brandon. Her legal name was Teena Brandon, because she was in fact a woman. She was in fact a girl. Actually, I would argue she didn't really make it to womanhood because she was murdered. But she's lauded in the trans community as being this really special trans figure, and, like, that's actually not how it went down, okay? She was sexually abused as a child by an uncle. And the woman who wrote this, sorry, I don't remember her name, but the woman who wrote this kind of explains how, like, the way Teena was interpreting that sexual abuse, the way that she was dealing with it, was she wanted to become her abuser in order to overcome her abuse by pretending to be a man, right? Because she was a little girl being abused by a man. So she, in her mind, in her abused, damaged mind, she thought that she could overcome that trauma by becoming what abused her. If that makes sense. But yeah, that's not what happened. She was also talking about actually having cosmetic surgery to appear more male, about having a transition surgery but she didn't go through with it. And that was also kind of, she also said that was kind of like a phase at one point. Like she was saying that for a little while, but then eventually she did stop saying that. Okay. She was probably on her way to becoming a woman and identifying as a woman and coming to terms with the fact that she was in fact a woman, but she was murdered. So that didn't happen. She was murdered by 2 men because I don't know if you guys know this, but most murderers, like 90% or above, are men. Shocker, right? I know you knew that though. Yeah, so then some men murdered her, raped her, and murdered her because they thought that at first I think they thought she was a male, but then they found out she was a female, and then they raped her and murdered her. I haven't seen Boys Don't Cry. I'm not going to watch it because I know that it, like, doesn't deal with her actual abuse. And I know that I just don't get a good vibe from it at all. It's, you're capitalizing off of someone's suffering in a weird way. I don't know, maybe I could watch it, but it's fucked up. Okay? And the reason that Brandon was murdered was not because she was trans, it was because she was a woman. And she got into it, she met up with the wrong men. Okay? Fuck. This is really not hard to understand, but y'all are acting like it's hard to understand. Stop. Really stop it. Like, seriously, you're not doing anything by putting hateful comments and, like, going along with the trans cult. You're hurting women when you do that. You're hurting women. Like, duh. You're hurting women. Like, if you're a part of the trans cult, if you've made a mean comment on any of my videos, go the fuck to your mirror, look in it, and say, I have hurt women. Because you have. I know that you have. And if we want to live in a better fucking world, that starts with treating women, like me, better. Because I deserve respect. And all women do. All women, all females on this planet deserve respect. And female is not some imaginary thing, so stop saying it is.